So how about specific business areas? So let's say you're thinking about a career in business and wondering what the implications of harnessing technology will be for those areas. Well, a man named Porter created something called the value chain that he used to describe different areas of a company and basically what a company does and how it produces value. And the idea behind this is that a company typically has some inbound logistics that it handles maybe raw materials, that then it has some operations and converts those materials to something of value to customers, then has outbound logistics to distribute those materials. Probably there's some marketing and sales going on there, and then after a product is sold, there's follow-up service. Now there's also other elements of the firm that have to make all this happen and work seamlessly. So for example, you need some kind of a firm infrastructure. You need to have a human resources team to do the hiring and manage all of that. There's technology development and things like procurement, buying the raw materials that you need to survive. Well, if we look at this, it provides us a way to think about the different areas of business so we can dissect down to what technology is doing in each area and what implication that might have to you, if you're interested in that area. So let's look at marketing to start with. One of the companies I worked with was Intel, and they were inventing what they call digital signage, and it's something in a suite they call the Intel AIM tool suite. And in this tool suite, they created the technology that could watch you watching a video. And it would actually discern some different demographics from you about how long you watch the video, whether or not what your gender might be, whether you're with a child or a companion, and capture that information so that it could be leveraged later, maybe sent inside a store, so a salesperson would know how to potentially say, well, I saw you watch this video and you're interested in this project. You know, is it a little creepy, but still beneficial because it offers this personalized service? These are the types of issues in marketing that I think we'll be figuring out as we leverage technology. You know, at the same time they were showing me these inventions, they also had things that could detect the weight of items that were on the shelf. So when you pick something up to look at it, they would be able to discern what you actually looked at to maybe come back to talk to you later to see if you wanted to try it on or something. Now let's talk about finance. I mean, we all know that basically commerce is at the speed of electricity now. I mean, where would we be if the technology systems went down in finance that didn't allow us to do the real-time communications, that transferred money, made contracts happen, all of those types of things that make global business run. So this harnessing technology in finance is a big, big area. Accounting is an interesting one. I read that some example of government-type fraud detection is actually using social network analysis to see if multiple people are conspiring together to try to do theft. So they're building fraud detection based on social network type of analysis and metrics that we've gained from learning more about social media. Fraud detection, we may be able to detect someone using a credit card in one location and then just a few seconds later using it in another location. Now, would that be possible? No, it's a potential fraud. So building in those types of detections in an accounting sense could be great ways to help companies prohibit theft. Supply chain management is changing drastically. You probably have heard about the fact that it's being discussed that drones can actually do the delivery versus the package delivery that comes from trucks or other means now. So think about that technology and what it might imply to supply chain and logistics. Human resources. Maybe you're turning in your resume now for a job and the first scan on your resume is actually done by an algorithm that compares you with all the others who turned in their resumes before telling the hiring manager who might be most qualified. So algorithms, technologies built into the hiring process are changing the way that we acquire human resources in organizations. In production, we've got robots taking on major tasks. I think it's going to be interesting to see how, in this case, whether these human-friendly robots will actually be there. There's certain functions that robots seem to be very good at. It'll be interesting to watch to see whether they become more adaptable and more human-like in their capabilities. So how do we get a handle on an emerging technology? And I just want to call your attention. This is an example that we'll kind of use throughout the course to examine this. We'll think about artificial intelligence, where it's headed, where it's at now, and what it might mean to jobs and to people. So here, I think one element is to consider that you might have some artificial intelligence that can help you make better decisions, or artificial intelligence that can drive your car. But some of this may be hype and some of it may be actually doable. Well, a company called Gartner has created what they call the hype cycle. And in this hype cycle, they look at emerging technologies, and in the initial stages of an emerging technology, there's this innovation trigger. We all get excited by the technology. It maybe then gets to a point where there's a fever pitch about what it can potentially do, which is way overblown or hyped. And then we start to see it getting some bad treatment in the press, and others begin to say, well, maybe this technology isn't all it's cracked up to be. Well, then we hit this trough of disillusionment that Gartner calls it, and that's where this technology sort of hit a low point. But pretty soon after that, we begin to see the technologies move into actually providing value for companies. Now, companies and people have to think about where different technologies are in this hype cycle and whether or not they're really ready to invest in them. So where does artificial intelligence fit? Is it still in the highest peak of inflated expectations? Is it starting to move down? Are you hearing some negative things? Have you seen examples of where companies have put it to major value? This will be one that we get to watch as we learn more about this. So AI works in 4 ways. It can have a human in the loop or no human in the loop. If the human's in the loop, we can think of it as providing some type of assistance or augmentation, or actually replacing the human. On the other hand, no human at all, where it's fully automated and or the intelligence is actually even automated, where a system or an entity or some product that we create can actually learn from its environment. Sounds scary? That's new technology, and there will be advantages that people find. So I think that right now, a lot of people are discussing AI, and they're citing the fact that can really add jet fuel to most of the game-changing technologies that are at play. I think in your lifetime, and as you watch through this course and learn through this course, it'll be very interesting to apply the methods and the frameworks and the models that we discussed to see how artificial intelligence is playing out in industry and whether or not it's something that you would like to get into yourself. Thank you.